My first guest tonight is, of course, the anchor of NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Please welcome our good friend, Mr. Tom Brokaw. These have been, obviously, these are extraordinary times for everybody.
Right.
But for you in particular, I've never seen in my lifetime a flood of news like this. Are you even sleeping these days? Because it seemed like the first week that all of this happened, you were on the air constantly.
I was on the air a great deal and slept very little, but as I've discovered in past episodes during the Gulf War, Israeli invasion of Lebanon, the Challenger explosion, adrenaline is a very strong drug. I was pumped up, and I would go home and sleep very little and wake up.
How do you even get to sleep if you're obviously that pumped up?
Well, the first night I went home, I came on the air at about 9:15 in the morning with Katie and Matt on the Today Show, and then just stayed on until about 2 in the morning. Went home, and it's fair to say that I was wired. So I thought the way to deal with this is with a big water glass full of scotch. And
this is a good message for the young people out there.
So I drank that down, and it had no effect whatsoever.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I went through...
And I noticed that the second night on the Nightly News, you did the news in your pajamas, wearing a trash can on your head.
Right. I did a second one that night, and it had very little effect as well. Do not try that at home. But it was a telling example to me about, how pumped up I was and what was coursing through my system. And I don't remember in my lifetime of having done this kind of work for quite a while. A story that I think it has the magnitude of this one, and the complexity, and that it affected so many people in such an emotional fashion as it did. I said on the air that morning, shortly after it happened, almost intuitively, this is the most serious attack in America in the last 100 years. More serious in many ways than Pearl Harbor, because more people were killed. This was within the continental limits of the United States. And I said, it's going to change us. I don't know how yet, but this is going to change us, because we've always had, for all of our power and all of our resources, we're essentially a kind of naive, innocent people. We believe that no one wants to do us harm and that we're secure wherever we are. This brought to an end that myth in the most horrifying possible fashion. And we're going to be living with the consequences of it for some time. We're just now in the beginning of it, frankly. We've had the attacks. We've had the president's response and the coming together in Washington, but we've not yet had the military response.
Right. We don't even know what that's going to be.
We don't know when or where that's going to happen. We don't know what that will then set off.
There's also, what I've noticed is that a lot of the entertainment magazines are trying to tell us how things are going to be different now. Like, irony is dead, or, this is going to be the new kinds of thing we think funny. And I just think none of us know anything. No, we don't know. We just don't even, no one knows week to week, how our culture is going to change after this.
I think that's true. I wrote a piece in the New York Times in the op-ed page reflecting on when I was a young reporter and John Kennedy was killed. And I knew then that we would change, but I had no idea how. That set off a chain reaction that was Vietnam and the social upheaval of the 60s and led to Watergate and a lot of other things. We hope that this will be more beneficial in terms of change, that we'll have a greater faith in our political system, that we will take more seriously these threats that exist in the world, and that we'll think more carefully about how this great country, and it is the greatest country, but how it relates to other people who have a good deal less than we do in terms of the protections that we have and the material wealth that we have, and how we fit in to their vision about what their place is in the world.
Now, I find anything that happened before September 11th now feels like 1,000 years ago. I know I had talked to you around that time, and you had just come back from a long vacation.
Right.
What were you doing? I mean, first of all, how do you relax? Where did you go? Because now that must seem to you like a million years ago that you went on vacation.
Well,
but what were you doing?
Yeah, it was somebody's way of getting even with me. I took all that time off, so I came back, and it was effectively wiped out. I was gone for the first time in my career for more than 3 weeks. I think I had 1 or 2 3-week vacations in 35 years.
Right.
This time I took off 2 months, and I had this long list of things to do.
Where did you go, first of all?
Well, I went west. I went to my favorite place in America, out to Montana, and yeah. That's one of our.
How did you get that steer into the studio? It's a guy up there holding the.
That's one of our Nobel Prize winners from Montana.
There you go. All right. Now, so you were in Montana, and
I
you
was
had
in Montana in the West generally. I was in Montana and Wyoming and Idaho and Oregon, spending a lot of time fishing. I had a long list of things to do. Learn to play bridge better, learn chess, learn French, read Shakespeare, and I'd get up every morning, look at the list, and say, "Hell with that! I'm going fishing or something."
Right, right.
So I do that.
And then what's the local? Is there a local dive that you go to in your town?
Actually,
that you go
there is
to?
in our neighborhood. There's a place that I didn't frequent this year very much. It's called the Roadkill Cafe, and the motto is "From your grill to our grill."
Like that.
It's a real cowboy bar.
Just pry a gopher off the front and fry it up.
Right.
Yeah. But you had to, so that's how you relax. You fish, and in the evenings.
I fished and rode my horse, saw a lot of my friends, read some books. I did a couple of documentaries as well while I was there. I did one on the Lost Boys of Sudan, which is another one of these Islamic conflicts going on in northern Africa. And so I did some work, but very little. And I went back to my home state of South Dakota and wandered around, saw some old friends, had a great time, put a lot of miles on a car. So it was for me, it was an unusual summer. It was a real anomaly in my life, and kind of liked it.
Yeah, yeah. And then every night just before you go to sleep, 2 tall glasses of bathtub gin.
Right. Well, that would be a real step up in Montana.
All right. Well, listen, we thank you very much for. I know these are extraordinary times for you. You're working around the clock, but thank you for making time for us.
Well, it is for everyone, and I dare say that I think that you and all that you've done, and this audience and this generation has responded in a remarkable fashion, because I think there is an awareness, frankly, that we're going to be living in a slightly different world, but that does not mean that we can't laugh or have fun anymore either. So.
If I could get some laughter going in this studio, I'd be a very happy man.
To say nothing of NBC.
Yeah, that's my personal mission, yeah. Thanks for being here. Tom Brokaw, everyone. Jared Miller is coming up. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.